Australian Treasurer Jim Chalmers is set to unveil a budget focused on strengthening Australia's economy and defence capabilities ahead of the federal election. Defence Minister Richard Marles announced a historic 10.6 billion Australian dollars boost in the defence spending over the next 4 years, with $1 billion unlocked immediately to accelerate military capabilities. The funding will fast-track guided weapons manufacturing, support the AUKUS submarine programme and introduce a new general-purpose frigate. Marles emphasised the urgency of these investments, calling them the most significant defence expansion in peacetime since World War II. This is what the Defence Minister said.
The federal budget, there will be an increase in defence spending over the forward estimates of $10.6 billion. This is the most significant increase in defence spending in peacetime Australia since the end of the Second World War. Part of the $10.6 billion sees bringing forward an additional $1 billion, and that's because of the need to accelerate Australia's capability development.
Well, joining us to discuss these developments and much more is Charles Thompson, a journalist who is joining us from Sydney. Charles, thank you very much for being here. This budget, of course, comes at an important time ahead of a federal election. We've spoken there about defence spending. What else can we expect in the budget to be released shortly?
Well, when we have a budget in Australia and when it's just before an election, it's typically very boring. And it's typically all about giving freebies. And the two big freebies, or where money's being increased, is Medicare, which is more money for health and hospitals and for patients. And the other is rebates on your power bills. So the government's spending more than it collects. So of course they're going to package it as a bill on defence, but I don't think it's anywhere near what was expected or should be expected in defence.
Charles, we're also looking at a situation where previous budgets have shown that the government is making money compared to the amount they're spending in terms of GDP being higher than overall expenditure. Is that something that will potentially change in this budget, and what could the impact be?
My understanding, and now I'm not an economist, but my understanding is, yes, we have been getting record income, that's money coming in, but this government has been spending way beyond that. So I don't think that we're paying off our debt. If anything, we're increasing our debt. Now, the interesting things, of course, are the tariffs from the United States and the fact that the Americans want us to spend 3% on our military. And if we were to spend it, that would be 79 billion. So increasing by 10.9 million is a drop in the ocean as far as the Americans are concerned.
Yes, and Charles, to bring our discussion to a close, I do want to look at that defence spending and, of course, the concerns of militarisation in the region. We know, of course, flights were stopped not too long ago for Chinese military drills. Is there a feeling in Australia that the military does need a ramp up, given the global insecurity currently with ongoing wars across the world?
I suppose for many of us now, it's not so much how much is spent, it's how it's spent, and is it spent properly. And one of the big difficulties is spending on new technology, and should we be spending billions and trillions of dollars on submarines, and if we do, will they work? Because we do, and others do, have a history of spending a lot of money on something that doesn't work.
Charles Thompson, thank you ever so much for joining us and providing your insight. We will be across the budget and all of the other news coming out of Australia.